Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and you may have noticed what we decided to do for this occasion is that for the next couple of videos, certainly when we're talking about My Chemical Romance, is that we are just going straight to black immediately. I even pulled out the Paint It Black riff for this intro because there are so many things to talk about when it comes to 2026. For example, RageCon 5 happening later on in July. Also, the very song itself, Paint It Black, turns 60 years old this year. Probably one of the greatest songs ever made. And it's... Do you feel old yet? Because I certainly don't. And I was like only 13 years old when I first heard that song. And I have literally never let it escape my mind since. Or rather, it never let itself escape from me. But with that being said, there's also another little cool little special occasion happening in 2026, and that is the Black Parade turns 20 years old. Which, whether this is technically My Chemical Romance's best album is it's certainly a very difficult thing to suggest, because one, I think it's either between this or this or Fabulous Days of the Fabulous Killjoys. Because one thing is for certain, My Chemical Romance's work has always been very, very theme related, if you will. 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge seemed to be a lot more about... there was a lot of death that happened in 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge, but I also felt like it was more about... There was a theme of embracing about that album. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, Helena was the Way brothers saying goodbye to their nana, and I think they fully accepted it as just as it happened, and rather than being sad, they celebrated her passing, and it's become a staple for quite a lot of fans all over the world, just because of what it also means as well, and certainly what it means to Frank and Jared, and to all others concerned. Maybe the whole of New Jersey probably was going through the motions as well. And Danger Days, for example, there's also a great theming of uprising, if you will, because the whole story of Danger Days is about these outlaws running away from this organization that is set out to kill them, and it shows them the ruins of a destructed world, but how, despite everything that happens to them, they come back time and time again. And whilst it's a war that certainly is not going to end anytime soon, it is one that continues because the fight for liberation far outweighs the thought of merely staying stagnant and laying around till you finally die, or you're taken in by the corporation. Yeah, I think that really does describe a lot of Danger Days, doesn't it? Give it another 4 years, ladies and gentlemen, that album will turn 20 years old as well. And maybe there'll be something to talk about that as well. Now, when it comes to the Black Parade, for example, there's a lot to be said about how death seems to be the pretty obvious motif behind literally every single song on this album, which is, strangely enough... I sort of agree and disagree about it because, well, one, yes, death is a huge part about all this. Need I remind you, the first song proper on this album is called Dead, and it also contains the lyrics, among many others, have you heard the news that you're dead? Wouldn't it be grand if exactly what you planned? If you took the pistol by the hand, and wouldn't it be great if we were dead? Tongue-tied in all this operation, to rig this operation, found the complication in your heart so long. 'Cause you've only got just 2 weeks to wait. Is that the worst that you can take? Etc. God, I love that song so much. Anyway, so putting that to one corner for 1 second, isn't there also a bit of a theme about how acceptance, if you will, and maybe that is. I actually do think acceptance is a huge part of the Black Parade. Yes, we die. Yes, okay, we understand that. Okay, so you can't really reject it because it has to happen at some point. So to reject it is sort of like to reject objective reality, because it happens. There's no doubt about that. But rather than being sad about it, you see it as an opportunity that merely your time on this mortal coil is finally coming to an end. But maybe your time on another world is only just beginning. It may be, because again, the interpretation of heaven and whether or even reincarnate, I think it's like brought up maybe once or twice on this album. But certainly hell is a very strong depiction in things like Mama, for example. But I also think that might be acceptance in another form, because for those who don't know, Mama is about the song about this. I think he was meant to be like a World War One soldier who dies, and how he's writing back to his mom saying, "You know what? I was an absolute piece of shit, so therefore don't even think about trying to feel bad," and how we are literally all just going to hell because of the things that we've done. And rather than me paraphrasing the lyrics to Mama once again, although I could easily do that, you just shrug your shoulders and just sort of get on with it. He accepted what was going to happen, and whether anybody else agreed with him or not is, well, one way or the other. Through fortune and flame we fall. But before we get to that, or everything else that happens in this, amid all the dirty looks and all the lies in the books, oh dear. You know what I really should have done is that I probably should have got my my sister to do this sort of retrospective as well, because when my sister first heard the Black Parade all the way back in 2011, she literally could not turn her ears away, and she just basically fell in love with My Chemical Romance. And I pretty much caught on to it just as much, because I think, again, looking back over these years, there's very good reason as to why this album is not only still heavily talked about, but it's also something that's been used in articles, used in studies, and it's the sort of thing that, again, has propelled the likes of Gerard Way straight up into the stratosphere. For those who've ever read or even seen Umbrella Academy, which is certainly on my list, I've heard really good things about it. But before we get to all that, let's... the parade is coming around this time again, so we're going to start with just a bit of a low-key and low-themed intro, just called The End. And maybe this is what I was trying to talk about earlier about this theme of acceptance. If death happens, fine. Why not just get it over with at the very beginning? That means your life can really begin anew. So let's get to it.
Now come all to this tragic affair. Wipe off that makeup, what's in is despair. So throw on the black dress, mix in with the lot. You might wake up and notice you're someone you're not. If you look in the mirror and don't like what you see, you can find out firsthand what it's like to be me. So gather round, piggies, and kiss this goodbye. I'd encourage your smiles, I'll expect you won't cry. another contusion, my funeral jag is my resignation. I'll serve it in drag. You've got front row seats to the penitent's bar. When I grow up, I want to be living like I say.
And yeah, for those who don't know, it literally just transitions straight into Dead. And I know it says MCR at the corner here. This is, and I apologise to all denizens of Manchester, by the way, but that is my MCR. Thank you very much. So yeah, that is genuinely how the beginning, how this all starts. And if this album was a movie, it literally would just be like a very low key, everybody gathered in a ready for a funeral, and then almost immediately it starts with, well, how did we end up in this situation? Which I think, you know what, it's certainly something that could work, because guess what? If they could do a Broadway musical on American Idiot, I'm absolutely convinced you could turn this into a musical as well. It certainly has a lot of nuanced ideas. So when it comes to something you could put on in the West End or put on in Broadway, but you know what? I love it, and I just can't. We're gonna have so much fun going through this album because honestly. Well, it's also because Dead has a really, really stylish music video to it as well. And if you know, you know. But if you don't know, we're going to explore by the next time we talk about it, which hopefully won't be very long indeed. I'll see all of you guys again next time. Thank you.